And we are live. It's the Revved Up 906 podcast, a Detroit Pistons podcast to be exact. And I'm Ryan. Tonight, we fall on a close one that really wasn't that close. To the Atlanta Hawks, 126 to 120. We saw the return of Saddiq Bey back to the Motor City. He was involved in the Saddiq Bey Kevin Knox trade to acquire James Wiseman at the trade deadline last year. Saddiq Bey, in the first half alone, wasn't really there, but then he came out in the second half and just put on a show. He lit it up, finished with 19 points, a block, 2 steals, 2 assists, 5 boards on 5 of 6 from the line, 2 of 7 from 3, and 6 of 13 from the field in 27 minutes played. I love Saddiq Bey. I truly do miss him. He was by far one of my favorite Pistons to watch the last couple of years. And a not so bold take, he is arguably one of the best 3-point shooters in Pistons history. I think that's up for a debate at least. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's one of the best, because what he did for us in a short period of time was very impressive to see. So kudos to you tonight, Saddiq Bey, getting the win on us. But we'll get you next time. That'll be known. DeJounte Murray was a big factor for the Hawks. They were without Trae Young. Trae Young, I believe, just had a second child, so congrats, Trae Young. DeJounte Murray, though, 32 points, 3 steals, 10 assists, 5 boards, 100% at the line, making 9 free throws, 1 of 4 from 3, and then 11 of 21 from the field in 37 minutes. It can't get better than that, truthfully. He was solid every stretch of the way. There wasn't a bad play from him. He was just reading what the defense gave to him, and it was his night. He was putting on a show. DeAndre Hunter, 16 points, a steal, 5 assists, 5 boards. Clint Capella, 8 points, 3 blocks, 2 steals, an assist, 7 rebounds. Bogdan Bogdanovic, 17 points, a block, 3 assists, 3 boards. Those guys that I list off, I mean, granted, it's pretty much their starting 5, but those guys tonight, they weren't really doing much to waver anything in the sense of, like, they were just having a solid game. There was nothing wrong with their games. I mean, Clint Capella alone had 5 fouls. He definitely had foul issues. But outside of those guys, their bench, outside of Saddiq Bey, wasn't really a factor. But that first quarter alone killed us. That's when the Atlanta Hawks just came full on, full force, had 38 points in the first quarter, 2-hour 29. Monty post game, he was going off on them a little bit for that. But I would agree that was definitely one of our worst defensive first quarters all season long. And you can't manage to allow a team to have 38 points in the first quarter alone. But the good thing is we stepped it up on the defensive side of the ball the rest of the game in the other 3 quarters. We saw in the second quarter, we outscored them 31 to 26. Third quarter, they outscored us 33 to 31. And then the fourth quarter, both had 29 points. So truthfully, if it weren't for the first quarter, and then we didn't turn the ball over as much, this game would have been completely different. One of the big reasons in our loss today was the Atlanta Hawks defense on Cade Cunningham. We saw that against the Bulls the other night. The Bulls, pretty much every single defender on the court was on him at all times or around in surrounding areas. And Cade really struggled with that. Atlanta, Quinn Snyder, one of the better coaches in the NBA, game plan for Cade Cunningham in the same way, same fashion. We saw them kind of having every single defender near or close to Cade Cunningham tonight, and that affected his shot, shooting 4 of 14 from the field, only finishing with 9 points. He had 6 turnovers and 3 fouls, but then he also had 3 steals, 12 assists, and 3 boards. It's something to make note of. The game against the Bulls, he did struggle scoring the ball, but he also didn't put the team in a position to win. I say that, and I'm saying that in the nicest way possible. What I mean by that is, like tonight, he has 12 assists. The other night, he really struggled in that category too, because he was looking so often for his shot that he was taking away opportunities for others. And that's what's going to happen from time to time. That's not a knock on Cade. It's not like, Cade, what the heck is going on? You suck. That's not me saying that. It's just one of those things that Cade has to realize as he gets to the top tier category of players in the league. Every team is going to game plan specifically for him and try to take him out because they know if they take him out, the rest of the team may crumble. And that wasn't the case for us tonight. The rest of the team stepped up. We saw Marvin Bagley in 30 minutes have 22 points, a block, assist, 11 boards, 4 of 4 at the line, and 9 of 12 from the field. Great game, Marvin Bagley. I said that again against the Bulls the other night, too. You've been on a tear when Duren's been out. Duren was out again with right ankle soreness. It doesn't seem like it's that injury. It's that serious of an injury, but it's still prevalent to the point where he is sitting out from time to time. Asar Thompson, my goodness, put on a show, kid. That one dunk against Clint Capella tonight, put him on a poster. At first, when you're going up against Clint Capella, that's a tough matchup already because Clint Capella is by far one of the better shot blockers in the league. And so the fact when you're going up against a top tier shot blocker in the NBA, it's a 50-50. But I believe because Asar Thompson has the hops, he would have made that anyways, and he did. Finished with 21 points, 2 blocks, 3 steals, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 of 6 from the line, 0 of 1 from 3, and then 9 of 12 from the field in 35 minutes. Asar Thompson has proved to be a Swiss Army knife for the Pistons this season. And it's very impressive to see because there's not one bad aspect of his game. There's certain teams that have certain players that are designated for one thing. So you have a rebounder, you have just a shooter, you have somebody who's just going to defend. Asar Thompson can do it all. There's not one bad thing in his arsenal. He's good at everything he does. And there's not a lot of players in the league that can do that. Most notably, a former Piston that could have done that for us was Tobias Harris. Even though Tobias Harris, as of his time in Philadelphia, has been more of a, I'm going to just shoot, play lockdown defense, get some boards, that's about it. Whereas Asar Thompson does every little thing. He's kind of like, and I'm not comparing them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing them. He's kind of like Draymond Green in the sense that Draymond Green affects the game by doing everything, by doing every little thing. He doesn't need to go out there and score 15 points. He doesn't need to go out there and get 12 rebounds. He doesn't need to go out there and play lockdown stellar defense. The point of the matter is, no matter what, he gets the job done. That's what Asar Thompson has been doing for us all season long. Last time I checked, Asar Thompson is 3rd in the league in rebounds total. That is very impressive for somebody like him in the sense that he's 6'7". The rest of the guys on that list are above 6'10". So the fact that you have Asar Thompson, 6'7", having 119 rebounds on the season before tonight's game, 3rd in the NBA. Nikola Vucevic was in 2nd with 120. And then I believe Jokic was at 131 in 1st. But that is just, it's very impressive to see out of somebody so young in Asar. He plays beyond his years. And every night out there, you're guaranteed to have a good game, no matter what aspect of the game Asar decides to go in on. We saw Stu, 10 points, a block, 1 rebound, 100% at the line, making 1 free throw, 1 of 5 from 3, and then 4 of 9 from the field in 19 minutes. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a bad game. It was just one of those games for Isaiah Stewart. I have no complaints because when he had the opportunity, he was doing his thing. But you could tell he was dealing with something that led to him not playing as much tonight because 19 minutes is much lower than what he had been playing previously. Kevin Knox had an amazing debut game back with us in Chicago against the Bulls, finishing with 18 points, 7 of 8 from the field, only missed 1 shot in 20 minutes played. That was a great first impact. Kevin Knox again making another strong impact, finishing with 12 points and assists, 4 boards, 2 of 4 from 3, and then 5 of 8 from the field in 29 minutes played. From the get-go this season, after bringing him back, Kevin Knox, every single time he's been given an opportunity, he's taken it full on. It's just, I'm happy for him because in his first stint with the Pistons last year, there were games in which he'd struggle from time to time. He wouldn't look stellar. He'd have his performances where he'd go, okay, Kevin Knox, that was actually decent. But this year, now having him back, he's improved a lot. From I think what did it in for him was like nobody was signing him in free agency last year. We got make an offer to him. He comes to Detroit, and then all of a sudden we get rid of him just like that. And I think that really took him down a notch because he's like, great, I can't just keep getting moved around. I want to be in this league. I want to play basketball. I want this to be my job. I want this to be my life. And Portland, in the last couple of games of the season there, he was amazing for Portland. So the fact that Portland let him go earlier this season is shocking to me, but I'm thankful for it too, because we have a guy in Kevin Knox that can do just about anything, really. He's added a whole new dynamic to this team and the weapons. He spaces the floor. He adds a three-point shot. His defense is solid. He fills the lanes correctly. There's just not one bad thing out of the 2 games this season for us to really point out. We saw James Wiseman get 14 minutes again tonight. He's been getting more minutes as of lately. He had 11 points, 1 assist, 4 boards, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, and then 5 of 6 from the field. I have absolutely no complaints out of James Wiseman. He did his thing tonight. He filled lanes when he needed to. He had one situation where Jaden Ivey was going up for the layup, but James Wiseman, knowing Jaden Ivey and his abilities, he follows him up like any big man should do, and was there to collect the board and go back up with a dunk. And James Wiseman tonight, it was just a good first step. Besides the Bulls like the other night, it was a good first step into increasing his minutes and getting into the flow of things as the season goes on. Jaden Ivey in 21 minutes had 11 points, 1 steal, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 of 4 from the line, 1 of 2 from 3, and 4 of 7 from the field. It wasn't a bad game out of Jaden Ivey. He had his moments where he struggled. He had his moments where he was good. But that's what I think you're going to see out of him this season off the bench for as long as he plays off the bench. Usually when you have bench players in the game, I'm not saying he's a bench player, even though he is coming off the bench. He's just, last year we saw a lot of him, right? So you're going to see increased minutes last year where he's able to do more and have a bigger impact on the game, where he's at least having 20 points, where he's at least having at least a minimum of 10 assists. But this year we haven't really seen that. There's moments where he's going to get 20 points. There's moments where he's going to get 10, and there's moments like tonight where he's going to get 11. But the truth of the matter is, when he had the opportunities to perform, he put on a show. He did his thing. He had a crazy circus layup in the game tonight where he just went around the baseline, was going up for pump faked a little bit, came down on him, went back up. I don't even know how he got that up in the first place, but he got the layup in the and one. And that's very good to see out of him. It's very encouraging to see, even though he's decreased in his minutes, he's still going out there and working his tail off. And that's what I'd love to see out of him. Alec Burks put on a show. 23 minutes played, 16 points, 1 steal, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, 4 of 4 from the line, 4 of 9 from 3, and then 4 of 12 from the field. It wasn't a bad game for him. We had the late fourth quarter situation there. Game on the line, trying to bring it close. Ball out of bounds. Burks catches it, is going off, shoots the 3, nails it, gets the foul called on DeJounte Murray there. As much as it pains me to say it, because I love when we get fouls in our favor, or we get an opportunity to close out a game and finish it strong. But truth of the matter is, it was a foul on DeJounte Murray. It was. But what I mean by that, it was an on-the-floor foul. He had the hip touch and was grabbing him early on before Alec Burks even went into the shot. But my one criticism from that call is the fact that when the whistle was called. So you have, in that situation, a continuation, and you're allowed to take that shot. But the whistle wasn't blown until after Alec Burks released the ball. And so in that situation, that shot should count. There's no reason why it shouldn't. If you're going to call the foul, call it when it initially occurs. Don't call it late, because then you have the situation of everybody going like, yes, we're in it, we got a chance to win. And then all of a sudden you take that away. And that's just my one critique from tonight from the refs. They actually called a decent game. I don't have too many complaints, but that was the one call where it will be up for debate in the long run if it was a foul or not. It was a foul, but it was an on the ground foul, and therefore they made the right call. But when you're blowing the whistle that late, you should just count the shot, and that's the truth of the matter here. Uh, but outside of that, we saw Marcus Sasser, 8 minutes played, had no points, didn't really do anything, only had an assist and a rebound, 0 of 2 from three, and then 0 of 2 from the field. In 8 minutes played, wasn't really a factor. What I think it is, truthfully, is that just the rest of our bench and the rest of our guys are out there playing great, and Sasser just wasn't given the opportunity because of the fact. I think he's fine. I don't discount this. I don't see Monty going like, "Hey, Marcus Sasser, you're not playing good. I'm going to bench you." I just see this as everybody stepped up, and so when you have the opportunity to take somebody out and put Sasser in, they were just playing too good to the point where it's like, I'm going to ride that hot hand versus take him out. And then all of a sudden we fall apart. So I see what Monty was going with. I have no issues in that. We got to remember Marcus Sasser, even though we want him out there, he was a late first round pick. He has to deserve those minutes. And those other players ahead of him have more experience and they've been with the team longer. And so you're going to always give the upper hand to those guys. But Marcus Sasser, I don't see this as a negative. I see this only as a positive in the fact of the rest of the team. But at the end of the day, the reason why we lost this game, besides the turnovers and our lackadaisical defense in the first quarter, was Cade Cunningham. If Cade would have had more than 9 points tonight, we would have won the game. When your best player is nowhere to be seen, but the rest of the team steps up, there's times where you can win. But this was not one of those times. When you don't have your best player scoring, you can't win games. And that really is the truth. You look at DeJounte Murray. You take DeJounte Murray out of the situation tonight, even without Trae Young, we win this game. In all seriousness, we win this game. If Cade Cunningham plays like he had been earlier on and averaging his 20 points, we would have won this game tonight. But Cade needs to learn situations in which the defenses in any opposing team is going to play specifically you. They're going to game plan for you from now on because they're recognizing, and any team is recognizing from a scouting standpoint, you struggled multiple times against the Bulls there. You struggled multiple times against the Hawks tonight. If everybody is game planning for you, you have to see that opportunity to help others out. But by doing so, the others have to also create opportunities for you. You did have a couple opportunities from time to time, but the Atlanta Hawks just had your number tonight. And it's not a diss on Cade Cunningham. It's not a diss on his game. But that's the truth of the matter going forward. If we're going to win games, we need Cade Cunningham to score. We can't have him have 9 points. And that's the unfortunate thing because the team played so good tonight. They played amazing. And Cade just wasn't there. He didn't have a staple in the game, and that's why we lost. But again, the final score from tonight's game in the Atlanta Hawks' favor, 126 to 120. We fall in the in-season tournament to 0-2. We have a couple more games left, but now we are at the bottom of that table. And it's just, we wanted to win this. But not only, I don't care about the in-season tournament right now. I wanted to win this game to end our losing streak. So it's going to be going on for another couple days or so now until we get that next win. But I want to end this losing streak because if we end this losing streak and get on a tear winning the wise, we're not playing bad basketball. We're just digging ourselves in a hole and then having to come out of it. Whereas if we don't dig ourselves in a hole and play like we have been the rest of the stretch, we win these games. And that really has to be it going forward. Cade Cunningham just needs to look for more opportunities for others, but the others have to look for more opportunities for him tonight. And Monty also has to recognize, and I think he does, but he has to recognize certain situations which Cade can't get a shot up, right? So look for the next man up. But without that being said, we had a good game. It wasn't our night in the sense of we dug ourselves in a hole. We did this to ourselves. If we didn't put ourselves in a hole, we would have won this game. And And that's the unfortunate thing. But that will do it for tonight's recap of the Atlanta Hawks Detroit Pistons game. The final score: Atlanta 126, Detroit 120. We will see you guys next time. Peace.